Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alston Godbolt and I want to help you start an online business. Now, what we do here down by the lake, Kenosha Harbor, is I talk to you as if I'm giving advice to my younger self. Advice that is based off of, I would say, about 10 years of experience being successful on the internet. I've been successful in a variety of ways, including affiliate marketing, digital products, memberships, Pinterest, Etsy, all sorts of stuff. I've tried it all. But today I want to talk about a video title that I saw, which I found really, really interesting. The video title said, 2025 will be the last easy year for making money online. That video was written, I'm actually going to sit right here. That video was by Iman Ghazi. I probably butchered his name. I apologize. He is a well-known influencer, social media YouTuber. And I had a lot of thoughts of it. I didn't watch the video, but what I recommend that you do is if you're just getting started with content creation, you're just getting started with YouTube, you want to get started, look at videos that are performing well in that space and come up with some sort of variation. Now you want to piggyback off of the main focus of the video, but then have a variation to kind of make it your own. So if you're looking to get started, don't recreate the wheel, as they say. Improve, find stuff that's gone viral, and then improve over time. Anyway, let's talk about it. Will 2025 be the last year that making money online is easy? First and foremost, if you've never made $1 online, it's not easy. If you've never made $1,000 online, it's not easy. But more importantly, I think the change is access to information. Now, if we look throughout history, really the only difference between the haves and the have-nots are the people that have access to information. Even 10 years ago, we didn't have as much information at our fingertips as we do today. You know, when you go back 50 years ago and the supercomputers were the size of an office building, now we have supercomputers in our phone. And I think the problem that influencers and people that have been successful in making money online for a long time, the problem that they're running into is in the past, you could get successful doing one thing once and then turning around and selling that one thing. So for example, let's say I ran Facebook ads, and I don't know Iman's backstory. I'm not talking about him personally. I'm talking about what I've seen in the marketplace. I'm sure you've seen this too. You run a Facebook ad and you make a sale. Maybe you make $1,000 with that Facebook ad. Then you turn around and you create a course selling that Facebook ad, training and skill. You know, you kind of build your business off of that. That can't work anymore. You will have to have successful knowledge, skills, and experience in order to be consistent. You know, if we look at the internal and external pressures of trying to make money online, it's more competitive because more people have access to information, and that information is a million times cheaper, right? I think ChatGPT just released ChatGPT 5, which is quicker, it has more information, it can give you better answers. You would have had to pay someone in order to get that information in the past. But now you can just go type in to ChatGPT, ask it a question, and it'll help guide you. Now, ultimately, you have to kind of understand and know what questions to ask, or you're going to run into different challenges. But I think the issue that people are going to run into is you can't just sell knowledge anymore. You have to maybe take it to the next step. I think you're going to have to be able to not only just sell knowledge, you're going to have to be able to sell knowledge ongoing and consistently. So I think, and again, if we look all through history, if we look back 100 years ago, the people that were the most powerful were the people that had the knowledge and the information where they could make decisions. And because ChatGPT is basically supercomputers and 400 million supercomputers build up in one, um, it eliminates that aspect. It eliminates the competitive advantage. The biggest thing that we're seeing is the competitive advantages that people had in the past are almost even, if not gone. I'll give you another example, and I saw this somewhere. I heard someone say this a long time ago. One of the biggest competitive advantages that we had, someone that lived in the United States over someone that lived in a developing country, was our access to information and the speed that we could deliver. Now, with the help of AI, whether it's an AI agent or it's ChatGPT, that is all but gone. So the competitive advantage that you had before, where you could just throw money at things, you could teach your knowledge, skills, ability after doing it one time, all of those competitive advantages are gone. And so you're probably going to need to be able to speak to what's going on currently. So like changes that are happening on YouTube currently, you're going to have to be able to speak to it. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that and do it confidently and consistently is if you're actively doing it. The days of creating something once and then selling that knowledge and then being able to sell it as things change are gone. Now you've got to be able to tell people what's happening in real time. When the algorithm changes, and it changes all the time, you have to figure out how to adapt to those changes and continue to be successful. Like I said, 5 years ago, you didn't have to do that. You could just literally, and I'm sure you guys know this, you could go look at a course. They were selling information that that was relevant, and they did one thing once, and then they were able to sell it. You can't do that anymore. And I think that's going to be the biggest change. But most importantly, I want you to understand, making money online is not easy if you've never done it before. Now, if you've done it before, you know what it takes. And even then, because the environment is constantly changing, the competitors you no longer know. One of the things that you had to contend with, or one of the things that, 5 years ago, you kind of knew who your competitors were, because most of the people were showing up on camera, they were showing up consistently, and they had a large following. These days, how you doing? These days, you don't know who your competitor is, and you don't know where they're coming from. These competitors are popping up every single day. They're coming out of left field. You don't know where they're building their following from. And so it's, you're always kind of fighting. You're always looking over your shoulder, and you're always kind of watching your back. Can you still make money online? Yes, of course. But it takes it requires you to be more tapped into the consumer needs and the consumer demands. I look at the make money online space, and a lot of the people that were in the make money online space 5 years ago are gone. Now that could be because their channel got terminated. Maybe, they pivoted to a different thing, but a lot of people that had huge followings and tiny followings, they're just not around anymore. Some of it could be because the requirements are changing. YouTube is requiring more and different, and some people just don't want to adapt to that change and that difference. But first and foremost, making money online isn't easy if you've never done it before. I think the appropriate analogy is riding a bike or playing a sport, shooting a jump shot. If you've never ridden a bike before, riding a bike feels like the most difficult thing in the world. But once you learn how to ride a bike, it's freeing, it's easy, and it's something that you never forget. But scaling is that next thing. So making $1 online feels impossible. You make $1, then you're trying to scale to $1,000, and then $10,000, then whatever your goal is. Every step is difficult because you yourself have never done it before. But I found it really interesting that this major YouTuber, I think I don't know if he's trying to dissuade some people, if he's trying to scare people away, from getting started if he's trying to raise awareness. But the amount of information that you can get, both good and bad, is mind-blowing. And that's going to be the biggest determining factor of who's going to be successful going forward. How much information we have, because we all have access to the same amount of information, which is huge, which is completely different. Again, think about 10 years ago, the difference. Some people believed X, other people believed Y. But now we all know and can find Z within a couple taps. And there are no barriers to entry anymore. At first, you had to be good at speaking on camera. Now you can hire a AI that is lifelike that will speak on camera. Before, and I think one of the reasons why scammers have failed and succeeded is the difference in grammar. Now you can get that grammar cleaned up. And what makes me think about it is right now I'm trying to hire a virtual assistant that's going to look at my YouTube analytics and find all of the videos that have less than a 6% click-through rate, and they're going to put it in a spreadsheet. And when I'm looking at these virtual assistants whom I hire from the Philippines, they always add S to the end of words. Like instead of saying work, they'll say works. Here's my work. And they'll say, here's my works. And so you could easily tell if somebody was from a different country. Now with AI, you can have AI clean up the grammar and then have AI actually do the speaking for you. And so any barrier to entry that was around 5 years ago is virtually gone. The competitive advantage, whether it was money, information, speed, is virtually gone. And so you're going to have to know real marketing skills. You're going to have to learn how to connect with your audience. You're going to have to learn how to build. And I think that's the scary part. A lot of people that, as I mentioned, got popular off of one thing. And I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this? A lot of people that got popular, got big off of doing one thing, can't do that anymore. I believe Iman got popular or successful off of dropshipping. Now you can use AI to basically do all of that for you. You can use AI, and I have Amazon. I sell on Amazon. Before, you had to go maybe spend a bunch of time or spend a bunch of money to do research. Now you can. So thinking about Amazon, and this is what's so crazy about it. With Amazon, the barrier to entry was money and knowledge. Understanding what products do well. Creating images. You had to hire people. I want to say I spent close to $2,000 getting images. Now, with AI, I can take my image and upload it, to take my product and upload the product image into ChatGPT or some of these other platforms, and it will create an avatar that is actually using my product. I can create, so when I was paying for these images, I paid for like a mock-up of someone actually using it. I paid for, if you ever go on Amazon, they've got those giant hero images. I paid for those hero images. I paid for all sorts of images. I can have AI now do that essentially for free or a fraction of the cost of what it cost me originally. Like I said, the competitive advantages that were there, money, information, speed, gone. Completely gone. And now it's going to be, I think it's more going to be about your work ethic. Can you figure out what's currently working right now and monetize it? Can you pivot quickly? That's what it's going to be all about. So I saw that video. I thought it was really, really interesting, especially from a guy like him. where I kind of just see him. I don't, maybe you guys feel the same about me, but I only really see him talking about making money and not kind of going through the trials and tribulations of building something outside of the make money online space. But that's where we're headed. You knew your competition was people in the United States. Now you have no idea. The AI avatars, they look so good now. Or you could even take a picture of somebody. You could take a picture of you could go online and find a beautiful woman or a handsome guy. Go marry that with 11 labs and create an automated thing, right? You could use HeyGen. I believe you could use HeyGen right now. Grab a picture of someone on the internet, or maybe even have. Oh, I actually had a while ago. I was doing those baby podcast videos. You could go grab a baby or whomever, marry that over on HeyGen, and create content. And it doesn't take that long. It might take 15 minutes. But if you had somebody working on it around the clock, you could come up with 400, 500 videos and just keep posting those on the internet. So making money online isn't any easier or more difficult than it was. I think that the playing field is leveled, and that's what scares a lot of people. Gone are the days where your advantages were I live in the United States or Canada or, a tier 1 country. Gone are the advantages of having money, having access to information. Because, one of the huge limitations was resources, computers. Like your computer isn't fast enough, your computer is outdated. However, that doesn't even necessarily matter anymore, because once again, if I'm thinking about using HeyGen or using 11 Labs, which are really popular, you just type in a couple prompts, copy paste to 2 or 3 different websites, and you don't have to be a video editor anymore. You don't need a video editor. And what's going to be really interesting and kind of what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a software or a service, an AI service that I can upload a transcript of my video or upload a transcript of the audio to a video, and it does the entire video editing process for me. It has B-roll, it has the motion graphics, it has the text on the screen. Once that happens, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different ball of wax, which I think is coming. It might be around. I haven't been able to find anything because that would eliminate. I currently pay, I think I pay like $600 a month to have a video editor. But think about the amount of money that I could save if I eliminated that step. We're really close to that right now, because with Adobe Premiere Pro, you can actually do a little bit of AI with current B-roll that you've got, and it'll do AI that way. So if you saw that video, don't be persuaded or dissuaded from getting started. I think what's going to be really important is speed and connection now. Because what's the best way to mitigate? What's the best way to give yourself a competitive advantage? Building a community. And the best way to build a community, I think, will be to respond to people, to use names. And while you can do some of that with AI, I think the best thing that you can do is try and work harder to build a community. Work harder to show that you have information that can't be just downloaded from the internet. And experience. Experience is going to be really, really important. So still keep working, still keep going. Making money online isn't any easier or more difficult. The algorithms are always going to change and adapt. And the algorithms are really based on consumer demand. The algorithms are really based on the consumer needs. If the customers aren't interested in a video or whatever it might be, the algorithms are looking at it, and they're going to stop serving that video. So continue to make content for the consumer, and I think you'll be okay. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.